Hello and welcome back to Awesome of the Rebellion, Chapter 16 this time.
Yeah, thankfully it didn't take several months to get this one out.
Well, that just means he wasn't, kidnapped by communism, or he didn't get lost in the woods while getting milk this time.
Yes, or no planets told him to stop, only for him to then decide that it doesn't count because it's not a planet anymore. Although we still couldn't get him to tag along for the recording. Sad face.
Sad face.
So,
Semicolon close parentheses.
was there something I said I was going to talk about last time we met, or not really?
I don't think so.
Okay then.
Right, so shall we just get started then?
Sure.
Right, so, Chapter 16. True Freedom, Liberty, Heavenly Japan, Kingdom, Justice, Part 1. Truthiness! So, last time was Part 1, and this time is also Part 1.
But part
Makes
2,
sense.
it's, it's
For some reason,
because when you multiply 1 by 2, it becomes 2, so it's both!
I reminded of the original Chapter 2 of this story. Sorry, Chapter 3.
Yes.
Which was
indeed.
also labeled Chapter 2.
Yep.
Yeah, I just checked back at that, now I remember.
And anyway, shortest author's note ever. Will Awesome survive? Stay tuned to find out. No, stay tuned to find out. Awesome died from blood loss.
Wow, that was... Wow, we had to wait so long for that cliffhanger. He really built up the suspense there.
Indeed. Suzak made screaming "No!" very passionfully and dive kick at Ron Paul, who lolled and dodged. Baka! Your military training can't defeat my future seeing Geass, Ron Paul said, and his eye was Geass. It can correctly predict the future 9 out of 10 times.
Gee, I
And now I'm
can't
just
wait
waiting
for
for the
that
10th
one.
time he uses it. It obviously has to go wrong.
Same here.
Kind of like what happened with Mao, and him using his mind-reading Geass and then being defeated by his opponents just not thinking. I'm sure something similar is going to happen here.
Suzaku tried to kick him with his other leg, but then Putin flew up and parried with his leg. They kicked each other and there was a shockwave that was so strong it causes an earthquake that caused Hawaii's volcano to start erupting, which kills a bunch of people. Wow. That sentence just changed between past and present tense several times.
Let me double check it. Oh my.
There was a shockwave that causes an earthquake that caused the volcano to start erupting, which kills a bunch of people.
Well, I'm glad to see he threw in the volcano action that I complained wasn't in their last chapter.
Yeah. If you want to kill Ron Paul, you'll have to go through me, Putin said, and Metal Gear Rising soundtrack played. Ah, what do you know? He basically just put in a soundtrack note.
Gee, I wonder where he was inspired to do that.
Yes, it's a mystery.
I've never seen a soundtrack note before in my life.
Putin
some
shot
reason-
Keyless.
For some reason, I feel like my sarcasm this morning is really heavy-handed.
Oh boy!
Putin
Go
shot
ahead.
key laser from his mouth at Suzaku, but he absorbed the laser with helicopter leg, which gave them laser cutting
Wait.
powers.
And Suzaku or at Suzaku?
It says at Suzaku. Did I actually accidentally say and?
No, I just didn't hear it clearly. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't shoot lasers from his mouth and Suzaku.
Spin Zaku sword! Suzaku shot and ripped off one of his legs. He attached it to the other end of his helicopter leg and made it really long like a sword.
Suzake, I don't think this is how you do things.
Putin used his communism Geass to make a destructo disc and threw it at Suzaku, who cut it in half with his laser sword leg. He kicked Putin a lot trying to stab him, but Putin kicked back at the swords to block them. He GR-abbed Suzaku's sword with a judo leg grapple and spun him around and throwing him at the volcano. Spin Zaku tornado! Suzaku said passionately and made a tornado so he could bend the air to stop himself from falling in the lava.
Suzaku, the last airbender.
You know, every time I think this story can't get any more over the top, it finds a way to get even more over the top.
I mean, he's already Link.
It's like the Batman Returns of Trollfix. Okay, maybe Batman Returns isn't the top example, but it finds ways. It's a great movie! One of the best alternative Christmas films that isn't Die Hard.
Well, actually, I haven't seen it. I think out of the old Batman movies, I've only seen the ones that everybody hates.
So,
Alright.
Batman and Robin?
And Batman Forever.
Well, I'll be fair about something. I do like the amount of color Schumacher put in his films, and Kiss from a Rose by Seal is actually a really damn good song.
A Bat credit card?
Right, so where was I? I don't think I read this part, so Putin flew over to the volcano and grabbed the flaming rock that erupted out of it. He threw the flaming rock at Suzaku, who threw his Spin Zaku tornado at it to blow out the fire, and then cut the rock in half with leg sword.
That's... wow.
Your kicks are as powerful as mine. I am impressed, Putin said with small grin before shooting a Kamehameha at Suzaku, who slashed it away. Now that Awesome is killed, why don't you leave the Black Knights and join us? Never! Britannia murdered my father! Spin Zaku kick! Suzaku scrammed and flowed at Putin, who caught his kick with another kick.
Wait, he flowed? That sounds oddly familiar as well.
Well, not as familiar as this next part. No, Suzaku. I am your father, Putin said. No, that's impossible! Suzaku cried emotion.
He cried emotion.
Yeah,
Also-
his face, he cried so hard his face turned into a sad emoticon.
Also, no points for guessing what music I'm going to put for this part.
The sad violin song?
Da, 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 da,
Oh, right, that.
da, da.
Well, I said no points for guessing it, but seeing how Torgo got it wrong, I'm going to take a point from you.
No!
Putin
No.
bro-
Oh, I said do.
Putin broke Suzaku's sword in half and threw it away. Join me, and we shall rule over the world as father and son. Spin, Zaku boomerang! Suzaku's broke off sword leg started flying back at Putin like boomerang.
How does he get his leg to do all this stuff?
No idea.
There's never any explanation aside from military training.
Nano machine, son!
Well, considering how the communists are super science in this story, why not have Suzaku have superpowers thanks to his military training?
Fair point.
Maybe they're like the military in Godzilla Final Wars where they just breed a whole bunch of Supermen. And women.
Putin had to let go of Suzaku and dive into the lava to avoid being hit.
He dove into the lava to avoid being hit. For some reason, that seems counterintuitive to his overall survival.
Yes. You are running out of spin, Zakus. You cannot defeat me, son.
Wait, he has a limited supply of spin Zakus?
Obviously, his nano machines need to recharge.
I'm pretty sure they've mentioned that before too. I don't remember exactly when, but I'm pretty sure Suzaku said in a previous chapter that I'm all out of spin Zakus.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. But what limits his use of spin Zakus?
No idea.
Is it like, does he have to use an item for it, or like, is it like Fire Emblem where it's a you only get so many uses of a weapon before it breaks, and then you need to buy a new one? Or... Yeah, I got nothing.
Said Putin as he swam under lava. Suddenly he jumped out and grabbed some lava, which he balled up like a snowball. He throwed it at Suzaku, who screamed passionately because his foot got melted off like Luke Skywalker in that scene from Pearl Harbor. What?
Maybe Pearl Harbor is actually a completely different film in their world. Like, it has some similar scenes, but also Mark Hamill is in it, and there's a volcano. Because somewhere in the middle of the directing was passed from Michael Bay to Robert Rodriguez.
But it was Anakin that got burned by lava. And didn't even melt off any of his limbs, it just...
Okay, so in this alternate universe, somewhere in the middle, the directing credits for Pearl Harbor were passed between, I guess, George Lucas and maybe Robert Rodriguez? Maybe? It's seriously, something like that is so crazy. It's
everything a scene
here.
From Pearl Harbor?
Again, Pearl Harbor must be... I think in this world, Pearl Harbor is like their... Maybe Pearl Harbor is their Saving Private Ryan. In this weird, bizarre, awesome world.
That's a really terrifying thought. Was Michael Bay still involved?
Well, obviously he isn't as involved. There are traces of Lucas, and there's the ridiculousness that I would most associate with Robert Rodriguez.
Fair point.
Anyway, shall we continue?
Yes.
Putin started making another lava ball to finish off Suzaku. Just when it seemed like it was all over and the bad guys we are going to win, which doesn't actually happen in any story. That sentence kind of didn't
go
seem
anywhere.
Complete. A Kamehameha shot Putin in the side and made him spill lava all over his suit, which ruined it.
That is the worst of his concerns, of spilling lava.
Well, he was swimming in lava earlier, so, but then again, if he was swimming in lava, wouldn't his suit already be ruined?
Also, can I just emphasize previously that Suzaku, like, snapped his leg off to use as a sword, but that didn't bother him. But no, having lava touch his foot made him scream.
Yeah. Lelouch was standing on the edge of the volcano, and so was Rasputin. Ah, there's Lelouch. I knew I sensed a powerful communism level nearby, Rasputin said evilly. Hello again, Putin, my apprentice.
Communism levels. So, literally, power levels are determined by levels of communism? Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his communism level?
It's over 8,000.
Aww.
Because I am a fan of the Japanese version.
What, it was 8,000 in the... How do you mess that up in translation?
No idea.
Maybe they just wanted to make it sound more epic by the rule of American Kirby is hardcore.
But how is it's over 9,000 any more epic than it's over 8,000?
Because it's 1,000 more!
And it's the same amount of syllables, so it's not like they had to do, like... So it's not like they had to change it to make it fit the mouth flaps or anything. But, yeah, the writing in the Dragon Ball Z dub was kind of awful.
You know, last night I was actually masterminding how I could make a live-action Dragon Ball Z film that doesn't stink.
Oh, simple. Get Mega 64 and make it basically an extended version of their Battle of Gods preview.
Shall we continue?
Yeah.
Right. I am no longer your apprentice. I serve a power far stronger than communism, Putin said, and used his communism Geass to shoot a garlic gun at Rasputin.
Wait, he serves a power far greater than communism, so he's using communism.
Apparently.
Yeah, but it's a garlic gun, and it's garlic communism.
How is shooting garlic at Rasputin?
No, I'm pretty sure the garlic gun is meant to be one of Vegeta's attacks, actually. I mean, it's called the Gallic gun in the dub, but garlic gun is still a valid way to spell it.
I mean, there is a character named Garlic, so...
Well, that was filler. Who cares about that?
All the same. I mean, canon characters have names of pretty much the same absurdity of naming pattern.
Anyway, I don't think I actually finished that sentence. Putin said and used his communism Geass to shoot a garlic gun at Rasputin, who deflected the shoots with his hand, so they hit Lelouch instead. Baka, you cannot defeat me with the Geass I gave you, he said, and Lelouch scream-faced in pain. Check on Spin-Zaku! Suzaku shouted. No, it was actually shouted. Suzaku shouted. And what did you say there?
Oh, I said of course Lelouch scream-faced. He can't just scream, he has to face.
Yes, and of course it hit Lelouch instead, because as we had established, Lelouch is the butt monkey.
Yep.
Everyone got confused until the Spin-Zaku boomerang that was used before came back and hit Putin. It impaled him through the chest and ruined his suit. But
oh no,
his
not his
suit was already ruined. Also, yes, the suit is clearly the most important thing here. Putin was too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin. I am too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin. I knew I was going to have problems with this part. I am too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin. Putin said, because he was too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin. Flew away and Rasputin... He flew away and Rasputin laughed evil. Ha! It seems he was too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku.
Inured! He was too inured!
Oh. Ha! It seems he was too inured and tired from Ha! It seems he was too inured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin. Rasputin said evilly. Say, does anyone else get the impression that he was too injured and tired from fighting Suzaku now to fight Rasputin?
Where did you get that idea?
I don't know. It seems to be implied here, but I might be wrong.
I think you're wrong.
Why did you refer to yourself in the third person? Lelouch asked, and Rasputin Lelouch asked, and Rasputin retorted by pushing him down the volcano crater. Suzaku hopped over because his foot got melted. Lelouch, why did you come to save me? Lelouch looked up with evil face because Suzaku had fallen for his trick. His eye went Geass. I, Lelouch v. Britannia, order you to join communism!
Dun dun dun!
To be continued, except not, because the chapter isn't over yet. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, Awesome was dead and sad, but then he remembered he had the life Geass and made himself come back to life. He remembered that he had the life Geass.
Duh!
He was dead, yet he remembered something.
I mean,
When
he
his
hasn't-
brain logically wouldn't be functioning anymore. So
Well,
he
but-
wouldn't be able to think. Yet he remembered that he had the life Geass.
Well, but when you think about it, the life Geass is based in one of his eyes, which is... I mean, he used it after he'd been vaporized once, and his eye was no longer intact. Also, I mean, he hasn't used it in a while, but how do you forget you can resurrect yourself?
I don't think he forgot. I think he was too bewildered by the betrayal to think about it immediately. The last time he was in the height of battle, so he immediately thought about resurrection with the light Geass. This time, however, he was too bewildered to resurrect immediately.
Because he's like, oh no, I am betrayed.
Not only that, but there's another thing. He died instantly the last time. This time he died gradually from blood loss.
Well, I think that using the term gradually is a bit of a stretch. He didn't die instantly. That doesn't mean he died gradually.
Okay, but he died slower. It wasn't as instant as vaporization.
Yes, it wasn't as instant. There are different degrees of instant.
So obviously we have established rules that the light Geass activates faster the more instant the death.
Anyway, he looked and saw the tea party was tying up all the Jaegers and his friends to take them prisoner.
What
Oh
do you
no,
tie
I
up
must-
Jaegers with?
Well, I guess they had really gigantic chains or ropes or something.
Or that uber dense material from Day of the Moon?
Maybe. Oh no! I must save my friends! Awesome said kindly and generously. He grabbed his machine sword and started killing Tea Party members, but then stopped when Ron Paul showed up in his blimp holding a gun to S2. Surrender, or I kill S2, and then you'll never have really hot sexes or Geass powers again, Ron Paul said. Awesome was angry, but he surrendered because S2 was really hot. But couldn't he just life Geass her back as well? Also,
Well-
I seem to recall the Geass givers were immortal.
Yeah, or at the very least, very, very, very difficult to kill. I mean, I didn't get that far in the series, but I know that they were at the very least very difficult to kill.
But before the Tea Party could take Awesome prisoner, something happened! A biplane flew down and someone grabbed Awesome and rescued him. The Tea Party members wanted to shoot their muskets, but they were still reloading from when they shot the Jaegers. Ron Paul shook his fist. Awesome looked at who rescued him. It was Billy Bishop and Paul Hogan! Hello, mate. Paul Hogan went.
That's not really how Paul Hogan sounds like. It's more like, hello, mate. You need to really accent the Australian thing. Yes, the only Paul Hogan film I've seen is the movie that supposedly killed his career, Lightning Jack, and it's not an amazingly terrible movie, it's just a lame one.
Well, I actually didn't know who he was, but fair enough then. Hello, mate. Paul Hogan went. Billy Bishop was holding his decapitated head in one hand and drove the biplane with the other. So, he doesn't have a head. Then how can he steer the biplane? I mean, that would imply that he is steering it without being able to see.
He's the headless plane man!
Well, no, because he's holding his head in one hand and steering with the other, so maybe he's pointing his head in the right direction.
So he's like David Gale in the Reanimator, but wait, yeah, except instead of putting his head in a bucket of blood, he can just hold it just fine.
You! Why are you helping me? Awesome queered.
I don't think that was the right word there.
Probably not. At least he didn't query questioningly.
That's true.
We were both being mind controlled by the Emperor's mind control Geass, Paul Hogan retorted. It lost power over me when Orange couldn't use his Geass cancellation Geass on me. And it lost power over Billy Bishop when you cut off his head. Foo. I am still alive because I was bitten by that handlebar mustache zombie officer, so I became a zombie too when I died. Billy Bishop's head said.
Most distant Deus Ex Machina ever. Except not.
Now we want to help you defeat the evil Britannians so our colonies can become freedom like Asia. But how? I lost my army in that battle and all my friends got kidnapped by the Tea Party, Awesome said smartly. Foo. We must build a new army then, to Japan. Billy Bishop's head shouted and they flew away from Hawaii. Meanwhile, in the Japan place.
Oh wow, the meanwhile actually cut to a different location for once.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in Siberia.
Awesome and Paul Hogan and Billy Bishop flew to the... Awesome and Paul Hogan and Billy Bishop flew to the... Why am I fumbling my words at the end of that? And also, this time it's a different place, but it also seems to be a different time.
So it's not meanwhile.
Awesome and Paul Hogan and Billy Bishop flew to the Japan place. Even though the Britannians controlled it, none of them shooted at the biplane because Paul Hogan was waving his Australian flag, so they thought it was a friendly plane. Also, Awesome took off his Awesome suit so they wouldn't recognize him.
But he doesn't wear a mask! It was emphasized very early on.
Also, they don't recognize Awesome's face?
Maybe his face is just so generic that you can't remember it, except that doesn't make any sense because he's described as being, you know, probably one of the most distinctive human beings ever.
Well, his description specifically said that he looked like Lelouch, except that his hair is somehow both completely black and completely blonde.
Maybe his hair changes from completely black to completely blonde. And thus, no one can pin down what he looks like.
Well, you know, the page image for this fanfic shows him having, like, blonde hair on one side and black on the other, and Of course, as I have always drawn it, blonde hair on one side, black hair on the other, with some random blonde or black spots spread around.
Which makes him look like the greatest Gary stew ever.
They parked in front of a Pizza Hut and went inside. A bunch of Black Knights were inside training for terrorism. Awesome! You returned!
They're training for terrorism inside the Pizza Hut.
Yeah. All the Japanners cheered. Awesome got free pizza and had sex with the hottest female... Awesome got free pizza and had sex with the hottest female Black Knight there. Afterwards, he made a round table to discuss strategy with the other... Black Knights and Billy Bishop and Paul Hogan. We must take back the Japan place, Awesome said intelligently. I am going to send you Black Knights to bomb and shoot and stab some British people to get the army's attention. Then, while they're killing you, Paul Hogan and Billy Bishop will help me sneak into Schneissel's throne room. I'll kill him and then declare myself the new boss of Japan.
Then while they're killing him. Then while they're killing you.
Well, he can revive them.
That's true, even though he completely forgot about that.
Everyone liked the plan because it was smart. But we don't have enough terrorists to kill enough British to get the army's attention, the hottest female Black Knight said. Schneissel shut down all the Pizza Huts except this one, so we haven't gotten any funding or places to train Black Knights except us. What if we recruit some high school students? Paul Hogan said. I hear Japanese high school students have superpowers. Some of them help save the world on a regular basis. Having the high schools on our side would raise our number and power significantly. They're also probably really easy to convince since they're so young. Billy Bishop's head. Not Billy Bishop's head said, just Billy Bishop's head.
Freudian slip?
I don't know. Awesome nodded coolly. Alright, I'm gonna go to high school and then... Freedom Japan! Everyone cheered. Awesome left the Pizza Hut and took some pizza and sexing to go. How do you do that? How do you take some sexing to go?
Oh, obviously they sold sexing with chicks because he was awesome, and he took one for the car.
Well, that would still mean that he just took one of the girls with him. I don't think you can take with you the act of sexing. Oh god, I'm treating sexing like it's actually a word.
It will soon become an integral part of the language by the greatness of the archaeography.
Yeah, kind of like nuclears. He walked into the distance to a high school with his backpack looking heroic. Here we go again. Meanwhile, in Japan place. Schneissel was sitting around being evil and sipping wine in his big throne building. Putin and Ron Paul had arrived and were standing next to him. We took Awesome's friends hostage and ruined his army. He'll never beat us now. Ron Paul said and laughed, shooting a gun in the air. Excellent, Schneissel smugged. With Awesome defeated and Zaber nuking Europe, we will take over the world in no time. I'm going to tell the Emperor about this good news. No, you won't. said Putin. He walked over and grabbed Schneisel. Putin took off his medal that said Boss of Japan, and Schneisel screamed. What are you doing? Guards! He said, and Ron Paul laughed. Your guards are dead! He pointed at the ceiling because blood was dripping down the floorboards. I used my future Geass to predict when they were gonna be above me, and then shot them.
Okay, so he wasn't just randomly shooting a gun in the air. That's actually kind of clever. Aside from the fact that that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but I mean, the fact that he comes off as a crazy gun-toting, Ron Paul, the fact that he was shooting his gun randomly in the air was not actually suspicious at all. So, props.
Yeah, also that's 2 usages of the future Geass. In 8 uses, I expect him to fail.
I mean, it's just 9 out of 10 times, which means that it could be any time but 1 out of 10.
Well, yes. Putin put on the Boss of Japan medal and screamed Schneisel out the window. Schneisel screamed but stopped when he hit the ground because he was dead. The Japan place belongs to Russia now. Oh wait, that's Putin, right? The Japan place belongs to Russia now, Putin said. Ron Paul laughed evil. Indeed, now it's time to begin Operation True Freedom Liberty.
That seems like an odd name for their plan, but I guess he's...
Obviously, if they called it True Conquest something, people wouldn't sign on. You see, in Batman Returns, Christopher Walken wants to build a capacitor so he can produce more cowbell, but he needs to tell the people that it's going to be a power plant so that they build it. And that way, they'll all sign on to Christopher Walken because even though he's totally evil, because in the end, it's Christopher Walken. And they can't turn down some more cowbell. Yeah, I really like Batman Returns.
Anyway, dumb. To be continued. Well, that was an epic chapter.
Yes,
I will say that's actually very accurate commentary. Over here in America, so long as you slap the label for liberty onto something, you'll get a lot more people on board with it.
Speaking about that, I actually need to talk about something. The upcoming Seth Rogen film, The Interview, it looks so awesomely dumb. Like, I saw the trailer when I was getting fun. There's gonna be some great satire in this. I don't know if that's gonna be like that or not, but I kind of hope they make it into a satire on how the U.S. just kind of, each time it tries to make foreign countries to its liking, it ends up creating something it'll fight against.
Well,
pretty much.
I don't know. You're kind of the big movie guy around here.
It's true, though. As of late, it's like, let's give weapons to those guys so that they can free their people. Oh no! Now that they have weapons, they're taking over. Man, if only we hadn't given them weapons.